Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fordivine Show. I am your host, Emily Ford, and today I am super excited to share with you an iconic woman. I met this woman just a few months ago when she decided to fortify her brand, and what I have learned about her is she is resilient. You are going to admire so much about her. She started from the bottom and now she is truly here. And what I mean by that is she didn't grow up with a success mindset or wealth or anything like that. She actually, at one point in her life, was on food stamps. On food stamps. She started her first venture building furniture. And she got so good at it that a show called the Bethenny Show called her up. She got on the show and she started to have clients like LeAnn Rimes, like the Kardashian family, and built a huge furniture company. Amazing. But she didn't stop there. Then she started in the network marketing company and she rose to the top of her company, doing well over 200 million in sales and growing. And not only all that, she's a mother, and she's a good mom at that. And I know enough from spending time with her that her children and her family are absolutely everything. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Christa Crawford to the show.
How do you even do that and then expect me to be normal? Hi, oh my gosh.
I'm so proud of you.
It's so crazy. You know what is so crazy is hearing someone else share your life,
Yeah.
Because we subconsciously just go through everything and it's just we're just living it. We're just moving on from one day to the next. And then it's whoa, wow.
You're like, whoa, and now I'm here.
It's crazy. And I'm honestly I'm right where God has me. I have been through all of those things, and it's crazy because as people talk, you have replays and flashbacks and all of these different things. It's almost like a movie in your own head of your own life, and it's every single thing was leading up to where we are in our lives today, regardless of what season you're in. You are meant to be in that season, in that day, and have walked through, the chapters that got you there.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool to be in this one with you.
I'm so proud of you. And one of the reasons I love you so much is because of your humble heart. I mean, you flew here in a jet. Let's just be real. And something that you said, and I've heard you say, is happy people ain't hating.
Yes.
It's something you say. And I know with the work you've done and continuing to put yourself out there, and if any of us put ourselves out there, sometimes we get haters, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes we imagine haters before, and that's why we never post or share.
100%.
So I got to imagine you going from, the growth meter you've had in your career, how much have you had to embody your saying, happy people ain't hating?
Well, I've been unhappy at times, and it actually made me hate my haters. And I feel like I've never really been the person that's hating the successful person. I've always been very inspired by that. So I've never related. I can't my mentality doesn't even go to the place of hating someone for being more successful or having more money or having more impact, or I was always the person who I wanted to hang out with, anyone and everyone who was better than me, because I knew that was the only way that I would get better than I was, So I can't really relate to that, but I can relate to, being in an unhappy place over people being unhappy for me. And by people being unhappy for me, it kind of put me in this tailspin to where you resent the people that don't support you and should support you, So I always think about that, and we got to bring it back to gratitude. And I know it's so cliche and it's so simple and it's so silly, but I will not open my eyes before thanking God for my day and just the opportunity to even open them again. my babies, you know, my family, my husband, the life that he's given me, and truly allows me to like have the honor of impact. Like that is a gift, you know? So really bringing myself back to like that happy heart.
Yeah.
And there's nothing bad you could think or say when you're in that space.
Right.
You know?
It makes so much sense. And for me, I've always said what you focus on expands.
Yes.
And so it's like you could have 20 beautiful, nice comments, and then you could have one negative Nancy, you know, whatever, hating.
Yes.
And it's like, don't focus on it. Block,
Yes.
delete, move on.
100%. Yes. I mean, I agree with that. But I've also done the other things too. I've done the response. Oh, I'm going to change their mind. Oh, I'm going to this. Oh, I'm going to explain myself. I really struggled for a long time in my life being misunderstood. Because I think when you are growing and you're successful, you kind of fall into the box of a successful person who, especially when we're talking about money, you know, people attach wealth and people attach money to really, really bad stigmas.
Right.
And so I think that, you know, that has just always been something for me that I'm like, I want to break that stigma. I want them to see my heart. I want them to see my intention. Like, I want them to know that. And you can't, I always say it's like talking to a drunk. Like, you're not gonna like, it's not gonna make sense to them, you know?
Right.
And when someone is in that headspace, they may as well be intoxicated because they're only gonna see what they wanna see. And you could say and you could prove and you could do and you could, all the things. So the block, delete, all the things, that's my route. That's my route. And it's like, I know God's bringing the people into my life that are meant to be there, and he's also revealing the ones who are not.
Amen.
So
to your next point with that, I saw you write something about discernment.
yeah.
What have you had to learn about discernment? Because with success and also with just moving fast in life, you have 4 boys. That's busy, okay? And sometimes when you move fast, at least in my career, I've almost like let people in, and I haven't had the greatest discernment when you move fast. What have you learned about discernment, and maybe what is discernment to you?
Okay, so first of all, I pray for it. Like, I literally pray for it. I am like such a firm believer in like, God will, and I know that people will probably tear this apart, but God will only give you what you're asking for. So it's like, if you're not going to him asking for something, it's like, you know, the boat analogy where it's like, God, why didn't you save me? Well, I sent this and I sent that and I sent, you know, all of that story about the lifeboat. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing. Like with my gifts, I pray for them. I pray for God to give me the tools, the resources, the people, the mindset, the discernment. Like I pray for that. Because when you're right, when you are moving so fast, it's like, who do I trust? What direction do I go? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it's just like, I have so much faith. And to me, discernment is faith in that, like, just initial, like, what is God telling me? Like, what am I asking him for? And so we were talking earlier about, like, me being so impulsive. And I feel like that has a lot to do with my discernment. Like, I pray for it. I want God to reveal things and show things. And when you pray so much for him to block other things, that's just, you live your life that way. And it's blocked if it's, you know, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, someone could come to me and be like, oh, this hater's like blowing up on this, blah, blah, blah. And I have no space for it anymore. Like, I really, truly don't care.
Right.
Like, you could pay for a freaking billboard with a hate and Christa thing, and I would still drive down that freeway, and I wouldn't care.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I think that it's definitely something, you know, that people need to pray for.
How did you develop that muscle of not caring?
I was hated a lot.
Like when you were younger?
Like, just throughout my childhood, I was made fun of for being, like, extremely underweight. And I feel like as I grew up, we have the choice. of perspective. And I truly believe like God has given me the gift of perspective. Like perspective is absolutely one of my greatest gifts, because I could take the shittiest situation and I will find the good in it.
Wow.
Like I will literally look at it and I will find the good, and I will take away something that is for good, is for benefit, is going to help people, is going to, and I mean, at the end of the day, realistically, in order to grow that muscle, you have to do it. It's like riding a bike, You're not just going to be able to watch a YouTube video on how to ride a bike and go get on the bike. Like, you got to actually fall a few times.
100%.
And sometimes are worse than others. Sometimes you're going to break your leg. Sometimes you're just going to get a little scrape. But in order to, and I think it's a decision also in terms of, a lot of people are not successful because they have already decided that they don't want to go that route of dealing with haters and critics and people and family not supporting them and this person not seeing their vision and all of those things. But at the end of the day, God gave you your vision for you and literally not for anyone else.
Amen.
So you have to be the one that believes it, and that circles back to the discernment and just the trust and the faith in his plan and the picture that he has painted for you.
So beautiful. And I always say, like, let your no's be no and your yeses be yes.
Yes.
Which is like, I feel like when you're in tune and you have the discernment, and then you can go, yep, nope. It's just, you can move much faster. And to be successful, you have to make faster decisions. I was just saying this to my team, and I was like whipping nays yesterday in the office. And I was like, I'm moving fast today.
Yes.
Because I just know that that's how we have to be successful. When we sit on things for far too long, it's delayed decision. So when you first got into your company, that you're like global leader, was it an automatic yes, or how? Tell me the story with that, because it's interesting, because you went from already having notoriety and success building your own furniture company.
Yeah.
So when it came to this opportunity, how did that all unfold?
So looking back at it, I did. From the outside, it was great. It was like, oh my gosh, she's filming with this celebrity and going on this show and doing this and doing all of those things. But I look back and I'm like, obviously now that was just a stepping stone. But that was a very, very, very ego-feeding business that I had. And actually, when I came into my business, my ego was so big that it probably could have like floated away.
Wow.
Because I thought that I was like the greatest gift to this company that ever existed. And it really was something that I was like, I knew I was gonna like stay building furniture. I'm like, I'm never giving that up. Like, I will never not walk in a room and have someone not be like, who are you working for now? Like, what are you doing? Like, that sort of thing. Because I went through this, this season of like really, really hard struggle. I had my first son when I was 19, had my second son when I was 22. After I had my second son was probably the deepest, brokest, darkest time of my life, because I had 2 kids and I didn't want to leave my kids. So that was never an option for me to like leave my kids to go to work. I would rather be on food stamps and state, assistance than like leave my kids. So I tried everything though. I mean, I started, backing up to like even, teenage years. I had like 20 jobs by the time I was 20.
Wow.
I started all these different businesses. Like every business that you could think of, like I started.
She did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
And they fail. And then, starting this wood furniture business, it was such an ego building business, because it literally was like I was the star of the show in that business. It wasn't about anyone else. It was about me and whoever I was building for and what I was doing. So coming into, the company that I partnered with, I still had that like mentality, like, oh, this is like, I literally felt like they were lucky I was at that event. And so finding out, fast forward a month into it, I went to a winery and I had found out how much money they were making. And I literally walked in that event and I walked out of that event a completely different person, because I always say, like, I left my ego at that winery because I was a small guy in the room and I became addicted to that. Like, I knew that and I mean, at that time I was making multiple six figures a year. I had this amazing clientele. I was doing all the things on the outside, but I was broke. I mean, I'm living in Southern California, like, you know, paycheck to
it's
paycheck.
expensive over here.
Yeah.
And so you're building things for like LeAnn Rimes and Tori Spelling.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to picture you like in a garage. Are you like pounding?
I'm literally building in my garage. So I would go hand pick the wood. Okay. Now, I couldn't draw the drawings. So I built. And when I say, like, some people are like, oh, like, she must have like built a few things. Like, no, I built like thousands of pieces, like literally. So I went through stages with my business. Like, my, you know, when I first started, it was my mirrors. Then it kind of went to entry tables and end tables. And I would do like custom ones for people to put, like, you know, a dog crate in.
Wow.
And it was all like, everything was custom. So like, this didn't really exist anywhere in my area at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you wanted something to fit your entry perfect or fit your doorway perfect or fit this. So I found like a niche market where it's like custom color, custom size, custom everything.
Yeah.
So I would go out, I would measure the space. I couldn't draw, so they would just have to trust me. And then I would hand pick the wood. I would literally prep the wood, cut the wood, like build the piece, go install the piece. I mean, my first barn door that I ever installed, I installed by myself. I showed up with me and my 2-year-old to the job. And I installed the barn door by myself. I had her husband go out and help me bring the barn door in.
Oh my word.
Yeah. So it was like, it was truly like, I mean, just that alone was like a test of my faith. Like, can you do this?
Yeah.
I've never done it before, but what's the worst that can happen, you know?
Oh my gosh. So this is like, you've had the work ethic, and then you see a new opportunity where you don't have to probably trade time for money and expansion. Because at this point, were you married?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when I got in, so my husband and I have been together since I was 17. We separated for 3 months. And that was like a really big time in my platform where I was like building these like crazy relationships with all of this trust. Like, someone to go online and share their like marriage issues, you know, was like unheard of.
Right.
Like, no one did that. And I am blogging about it, you know? And it was like my outlet. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do because my whole life is crumbling before me. And, you know, I looked at this opportunity truly not as a replacement actually for my wood furniture business at all. But I did look at it like an opportunity where I can make money without like putting money into it.
Yeah.
Because with my business, I had to buy all the wood, I had to pay for the gas, I had to take all the time, I had a lot to do. So it's like, oh, multiple six figures on paper, that's great. But after I buy the material, pay for my gas, do all the things, you know? And then growing that wasn't really an option because everything was in my head. I couldn't like go have someone build something that was in my head. You know?
You're the artist.
Yeah. So I looked at this opportunity as a way to just bring in an extra stream until I found out how much the income possibility was. And when I found out the income potential, I mean, like I said, I left my ego there. Like, it was gone. And I decided at that point, like, I'm literally gonna look like a fool behind closed doors because that's the reality of my life. It's falling apart. Or I'm gonna look like a fool to the world and try something crazy because I didn't believe in the industry that I'm in. Like
Yeah.
I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe it was real. I didn't believe that people could be successful,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So how fast did you gain success in joining?
So I, about 6 months in, was matching my income that took me 5 years to build.
Wow.
While I was still building. Like I was still building, installing, working. And then I stopped taking orders.
Oh my gosh. And what do you think is your number one thing that made you get that income right away? Was it your network? Was it your work ethic? Was it just being on fire for something?
So I mean, I always tell people, like, I have a sickening work ethic. Like, I love it. It's my hobby. It's what I love to do. I enjoy it. I love my family and I love my work. And I get to pick what I want to do and I love it. And I'm so grateful for it. I was doing what a normal person would do in a month in like a day.
Wow.
Like I was just, I mean, and when we're talking, like when I say that, like I'm genuine. Like a lot of people have, oh, 1 event a month, 2 events a month, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna reach out to 10 people. Like, no, I was literally like, it didn't matter who you were, how well we knew each other, if we didn't like each other, whatever it was, I was, you know, bringing this opportunity to them.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like, okay, I was still building furniture. So it's like I would go, my schedule was this. I would wake up, I would go prep like my work for the day. Figure out, okay, what am I doing today? Figure out, lay out, you know, whatever needed to be laid out. Wake my kids up, take my kids to school, drop them off, go buy the wood, come back to the house, unload the wood, go pick up my kindergartner, because he was half day, stain the wood when he got home, then go pick up my other kid, come back, and all of that in the midst of like being in line here, waiting in line at the wood, like wherever I was working.
Yeah.
So there was no scroll in my life. Like I'm not here to scroll. Like if I'm doing something and my family knows, like if I'm on my phone, I'm working.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't. And I mean this in like the nicest way, but I do not care what's going on anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I feel
you
you.
know, unless I'm working with you, so I think it was just the time that I put in, you know. I found every nook and cranny and way to like squeeze it in.
And just like this fearless tenacity too. Again, it's decisive. Successful people make fast decisions.
Yes.
And I feel like that is a trend with you. You move fast, where some people, it would take them a week, a month, a year to get it done. You're whipping nays in one day. And I always say it's so much easier to move fast than it is slow. Like when you move like a tortoise, it's like, good luck, Chuck. This is going to take you forever. Rip off the Band-Aid fast. Would you rather go, oh, I don't want to hurt the scab, or just rip it, you know?
Well, the thing is, people prepare to prepare to prepare to prepare. And all they're doing their whole life is preparing. And it's like, I was the person that, like, you know, I'm 15 years old and see a magazine with pink and her hair pink, and I'm like, I want my hair pink. And I, like, literally do my hair pink, like, that night.
She finds a way.
Like, it's just, there is literally no in between. If you ask anyone in my life and my family who knows me, they're like, oh, shit, if Christa says she's going to do something because it's getting done.
And that's your reputation. And through obviously like having different businesses, different things, but this that you're sharing, like this becomes your reputation. And your reputation determines if you're influential or not. 100%. So when you have a reputation like that, I bet when you say you're going to do something, people believe you. And there's a resonance of truth to that.
Yes.
But how does someone go from food stamps to
Do you know how hard it
building,
is to get on food stamps when you're 19 and you're alone with your kid? That alone was work ethic right there. I'm like, I look back and I'm like,
it's hard.
Oh my gosh, I had to wait in these lines. It was before all this automatic stuff online, when you're calling and websites and stuff. I had to go to Costa Mesa and wait in lines. Sometimes for multiple days, I would have to go and get back in line because they didn't get to me, right? So like, I was like I mean, and it didn't matter what it was. At that time, I was, my husband has always worked full time. He was in construction. He has always been like worker, worker, worker. I never, ever, ever thought that he would let me retire him, because he is just like a workaholic, and not workaholic in like a entrepreneur way, but like in like a manly way. Like he was working 6 days a week when I finally retired him, because, his job got upset that we were going on too many trips.
Oh my God. So what do you have to do for your financial blueprint, thermostat? I know people are listening right now, and it's like income, like to jump your income. There's belief meters to all this. Was it because you were never exposed to like, how to make income? Like how did you continue to grow and break through that, the belief system there?
So I actually grew up in a very like entrepreneurial family. Like my parents owned businesses my whole life.
Wow.
And I think that I've watched them, succeed in some and fail in others. So I was already mentally kind of prepared for failure. Mm-hmm. Like I never ever have identified failure with like failing. Mm-hmm. I've always identified it with like, lessons. Okay, next up. Like,
hashtag lessons.
Yes. Yeah. Like, okay, wrong. You know those little things when you're like sitting at the table and they give the kids menus, and it's like, that's what I look at life as, like a little, you're going through and it's like, oh, hit a wall there. Yeah. Okay, got to go back. There is a way all the way through. You just have to figure out which way is all the way through. So I did have that. However, I was not exposed to wealth until I moved to Orange County at 18 years old. Uh-huh. Okay? Uh-huh. And when I was exposed to that, I met a lot of people, and there were some celebrities that we met, or that my husband was friends with so-and-so, and it was whatever, and I was just so unimpressed. Mm-hmm. Like I was here I am like broke on food stamps, and I'm like the most unimpressed person about like this millionaire, Yeah. Like I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. Like, but I think that wealth has always attached itself to freedom for me, and I think the reason why I'm so crazy independent is because I don't like being told no. Mm. And I don't even like telling myself, no, you can't do this, you shouldn't do that, in terms of like what I can buy or what I can do or what I can donate to. Right. I spent many years of my life like wanting to donate to GoFundMe, is that I didn't have any money in my bank account. So it's like to have the flexibility financially and with my time and with everything, like that was the golden ticket for me. Mm. But money was the road, Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, I have to make the money if I want this and I want that, and I knew that. And I think that the belief, like you will only ever achieve what you believe. Mm. So like if you don't believe it, you're never gonna achieve it. So I think that has been something, like we're never gonna like reach higher, if we're not setting the bar higher. Mm-hmm. So I've always been like a very, very, like my bar for myself, like it's higher than I could even see. Ugh. It's like, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Like I still can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unlimited possibilities. Yeah. When it comes to your faith, talk to me about that. Like, have you always been close to God? I see what you were watching a movie The Chosen, yes, which I love. Yes. Talk to me about that.
So my grandparents were pastors. I actually was born in Oklahoma because my dad was going to Bible college when I was born. Okay. So my parents were youth pastors. We've always grown up with like in the church, like every Sunday we went to church and then we went out to eat. And then every Wednesday I was going to youth group. I don't feel like, and I always like prayed and I would go to church. Yeah. And, I felt like I had a close relationship with God. But it really wasn't until like I was literally on my hands and knees in the middle of like what was about to be a divorce for me. And I was just like, God, use me. Like, I did not know the Lord in the way that I know him today. And I had to go through like the deepest, darkest places in my life. And it happened again, not with my marriage, but like a different situation. A few years later, where I was in that like place. And I think that, you know, to like really know God is like, it's such a crazy, crazy gift. Like,
Amen.
and he's there literally for everyone. Like, but you will never find what you are not seeking. So if you are not seeking that relationship with God and you are not needing it, like God wants to be there for you when you need him the most. And I think that was, you know, those were my moments, my times in my life where my relationship just deepened. Like it was just, I felt like, whoa, like I don't even know if I really knew God before. And I grew up, you know, in the church and
it's like a whole different knowing.
Yeah.
I can so relate where people are like, I thought you like always believed in God. I'm like, no. I've always believed in God.
Yes.
And I've thrown up prayers here or there. But it's a whole different thing when you fear the Lord.
Yes.
And when you listen to the Lord. And it's just really amazing watching you glorify God. And I just want to take you back to that moment, though. That moment of, am I going to get a divorce? You're feeling so lost. What was that moment like? If you can take me back, like, were you just like, God, if you're real, or was it just like a slow, you know, calling out?
I don't necessarily. It's really, really never been, God, are you real? Like, and back to like what you just said, like, you could believe in God, but knowing God is completely different.
100%.
Elaborate
on that.
A believer is not a follower, okay? Like, there's a lot of people who believe in God and they're following the wrong thing, right?
Right.
So it's like, are you a Jesus follower? Like, what are you? And I think that, and I don't say this to anyone in any like judgmental way whatsoever, that it's the greatest thing in, like, I genuinely like shout out to The Chosen.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone in this world should watch that show.
I love that
because
show.
it really, really puts, you know, something that can be so complicated to someone who did not grow up with pastor grandparents and parent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, it could be questionable or confusing or, you know, those things where it's like, okay, like, what does that even mean? Like, I've had people like, so you just think you're like praying to a God? Like, you just think you're like talking to someone? And I'm like, no, like I know I am.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, and God talks to me. Like, I'm not, this isn't, and so in that moment, I feel like I just, you know, I was just begging for it. Like, I needed his direction. I needed, and this was right around that time that I had gone to that event. And I was like, okay, like, this is it. And I kind of just honestly felt like I was in the hallway and all the doors were closed.
Oh, wow.
And they all looked the same. And I had no idea what direction to go. And it was just like, God just opened one door after the next. And if God's going to open a door, you better walk through it.
That's right.
You are going to question things. There is so much in your life that and the picture that I paint for people is this. You go to a gift exchange, the prettiest packaging goes first.
That's right.
Sure. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, oh, that one with the glitter and the foo-foo and you know, that's going to be the best present.
Yeah, the big bow.
But then, like, you know, the sloppy card over there is actually like the best one, right? So I feel like in life, God, you know, and I know this will be something that people will say, but I do feel like he trusts our faith.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, he does.
No, not trust our faith, test our faith.
Well, that too.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Test our faith. And with, you know, are you, and I feel like he's very clear with his messages. It's just a matter of like, are we listening?
And are we going to be obedient
Yes.
to that? And
Yes.
and are we going to practice that discernment? It's so true. I feel like the last few years of my life, he was like, let me see what I can trust you with.
100%.
He's testing your faith to see
Yes.
what he can trust you with.
100%.
And if he can trust you, then he's like, oh, okay, I will open this door and I will give you more. But if I can't trust you with little, why on earth would I give you more?
And it literally says that, you know?
In the Bible.
It says that
Yeah.
in the Bible. And, you know, I say that to my team all the time because people come into this world and they're praying for this success and they're praying for that and they're praying for this. Please, God, send this. Please, God, do this. And it's like, well, what is your prayer? Because if your prayer is more for you than it is for how you could serve,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not sure. And obviously, everyone has their different walk. Everyone has their different thing. But the number one question I ask people is, can God trust you with what you're praying for? Are you praying for something that you are going to walk through with obedience? Because I'll tell you right now, that day that I was on my hands and knees, God knew that he could trust me with every ounce of success he gave me, because I'm still walking in that in a way like I am brand new, don't have the success that I have. I'm still, like, my job here is to help women, and that is what I'm doing. And I don't want to stop that. Like, I have so much love for it.
It's so beautiful, and God knows the motives of your heart.
Yes.
And when your heart is clean and pure, it is so beautiful to watch. Like, you step in and serve. The first time we got on a Zoom call, I remember asking you, what do you want to do? And you kept coming back to, I want to help women. I am helping women. I want to continue to help them know how amazing they are and be unapologetic about themselves, like I am about myself. And it's like all you cared about in our call was like, it wasn't like I need to do a rebrand to be the best superstar in the world and to have a New York Times bestseller or to you were so much about people, which is so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and you can feel that. And I believe that's why you've had the success you've had, and you will continue, because you have to make it about people. And one of my greatest tips when people ask me, like, how do you show up online all the time? And you're so consistent. And I say, there's days I don't feel like it, but I think about her.
Yes.
I think about her. So I show up for her, and then that actually gives me momentum. Talk to me about that, because you've been so consistent online, building your brand. You know, I know we're like zhuzhing it up here, doing this whole thing, but you've gotten so far showing up, even having, 4 kids, a husband, lots of things going on. Like, what propels you to create content every day?
I think that I'm just addicted to, like, the reach of truly, and I know this circles back to everything you just said, but like really helping women. Like, you know what it is? I like just had this like epiphany. I wish that I had a me. Like, I wish that I saw me when I was 18, 19, having my first baby, on food stamps. Like, I wish that I opened my phone and saw this girl who's not ready, has babies, been through all the things, like talking about that and sharing that, because and that's why I've never, ever lost focus of like my true story. Like, I don't have skeletons in my closet. Like, I throw my skeletons out. Like, they're out in the open. Like, you're gonna hear something about me, you're gonna hear it from me. You know? And I think going through that process of like, I mean, even my divorce, sharing that openly with people, I had a lot of judgment. I had a lot of flack for that. And especially because I walk with the Lord, and I was going to church, and people were, responding with all these things. And it's like, I had to be there for the person who needed me, you know? And that's my drive to consistency.
Yeah.
You know, and ultimately, like, God willing, that is how I, you know, have built my success.
Yeah.
And that's how I built everything that I have from even, you know, the beginning. So
And never lose that. It never. I was backstage at a huge event, sharing the stage with like Tony Robbins and all these people,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Wow." What happened was I went in the hallway and I just stood there for hours and talked to every person.
Yes.
And I watched these like other people
Mm-hmm.
like walk you know what I mean? And the person running the event was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Am I sure?" Like, the reason I'm on this stage is because of these people, because
Yes.
they drive me, and every story. And I've walked through it already, so let me have a micro moment with this
Yes.
girl and take a photo with her. And I told my husband, because even my husband was like, "Should we go?" And I was like, "Babe, if I ever get like that," and I pointed to another speaker who was too cool for school, I said, "You better spank me, and not the kind of spank in the bedroom. You better spank me." I said, "I never want to be that way. If I get like that, you have full permission to shake me up."
I love it. I mean, I literally could not agree more. I mean, we're at events, you know, with my entire company, and I'm the same. I'm like, I don't even know what. You just started yesterday? Awesome. Let me help you and
humble
inspire
heart.
you
Keep
and
the
all
humble heart.
things.
And
I
so
love that
let me
about you.
let me talk about you and the hub. So you've been together for how long?
Well, we have been together, I'm like, what year is it? I don't even, we've been together since I was 17. I'm 35 now.
Okay.
So
I've never
18 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 kids. Wow.
4 boys.
And how is things like now, like in today? Like, I feel like you guys, like, how do you make time for each other? How do you, like, tell me about your life now? Because he's
home full time.
Okay.
So I retired him 2 years into my business, and he's home full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like, it literally is it is the dream, and I'm so grateful. Like, I am, you know, I have people reach out to me all the time, and they're like, "Isn't that like unattractive? Isn't that like the most unmanly?" And it's like, to me, like, my husband putting like his kids and his wife before anything else, like his ego of going to work and continuing to work, like, when finances are not the reason why, you
Right.
know? I'm like so, I mean, and don't get me wrong, we're together all the time. So it's not like rainbows and butterflies all
Right.
the time. We're very like real and raw and open. And we're both like very much the same when it comes to like speaking our minds,
Yeah.
you know? But I mean, we just do. Like,
just do it.
We will wake up before the kids wake up, and we'll go get, you know, our coffee or our breakfast, and we do a lot of, you know, real estate stuff together. So that's like our little outing is going and looking at property, or this last couple weeks has been looking at land, and we go out to dinner. We definitely are like daters.
Yeah.
Like, we date a lot.
Yeah.
We go on overnight dates. We'll go to Vegas for the night and do our shopping, and, you know, whether it be like getting ready for like one of our kids' birthdays, we'll go out there and do that. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're just,
You make it a
he
priority.
is literally my best friend.
You can tell. You guys are so gorgeous. Your whole family, all the boys.
Thank you.
Have you had to learn how to set standards? Like, how big is your sales team, your team?
Like, how many people?
Yeah.
Probably like 25,000.
Okay. Wow. So how do you have standards in place? Like, when you're with your boys and you're doing family time, like, do you have to like shut off your phone? How do you give them that energy and that presence? I think a lot of moms that I talk to, what happens is they're like, when I'm working, I feel guilty. And when I'm with the kids, I feel guilty that I'm not working. Like, have you ever dealt with any of that?
I think that mom guilt is like definitely real. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I have definitely felt like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I've worked so much today at the end of like a Monday where it's like you're catching up. And, but for me, most times it's like, it's after, you know, I just got to spend 3 days at the races with my family and not work at all, you know? So, the balance with kids has really, really, truly came from, I bring my kids into my business a lot. So I don't divide the two. I don't like that. I actually started doing that I married the two back when I was building furniture. And I went to take a photo of a bed that I built. It was the very first bed that I built. And I went to take a photo of the bed, and my 2-year-old would not get off the bed. Like, he kept climbing back on, and I'd take him off. And then he'd climb back on, and I'd take him off. And then finally, I was just like, you know what, F it. Get on the bed. Let me take a picture. So I took a picture with my kid on the bed. That snowballed my brand into Mom the Builder.
Wow.
So, my kid came with me to every single install for 2 years. So like my kid, he was with me when I was building, and he was helping me push the cart, and I always like made it something where like we look back on those times and like he doesn't look at it like, oh, mommy was working. He looks at it like, remember when we used to go to Home Depot and I would ride on the thing with you? And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, oh, remember when we always went to that Chick-fil-A and, you know, I met with a client, but it was like, my kid was with me. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, my kids are older now. They're, you know, my older boys are 13 and 15. So they understand a lot more. They also understand and live in, you know, a very grateful state of mind, knowing that like we wouldn't have our dad home. We wouldn't have, you know, they see other kids around them where their parents are just gone working all the time. Yeah. And they get to go to every race because both of their parents don't have a schedule, you know, like, so I think that marrying the two is something that I have always done, and I brought into my business that I do now, and there was no other option for me. Like, if my baby couldn't come with me, then I'm not gonna come. And and don't get me wrong, obviously I have a 4 and a 5-year-old now. They're psycho, and they're literally climbing on they are like the most talented, crazy kids after my 15 and 13-year-old, you know, seeing big brothers like do all the things. So there's some things I'm like, you know what, we'll just keep it a parents' night, and like, this is classy dinner. Like, so I'm not saying I never leave my kids, but I'm going on a company trip next week, and my whole family's going, and we're extending, and it's, you know.
And I love that, because they're going to learn by watching you. They already have, like, the thing that I love about you is you break the norm. Like, you design your life is what you do. Yeah. And even to the point where earlier today when we weren't filming, you know, you were sharing with me, like, my company had like cocktail parties and this and that. And it's like, we're going to roll up how we want to roll up. We're bringing the kids. Like, I think people forget because they're so stuck in a box. Like, oh, we have to do things this way. And it's like, said who? Yes. Said who?
Agree.
Said who?
Agree.
And so I just commend you for that, because it's just like inspiring for me, and to just know you don't have to choose. You can do both. You can have both.
I think the crazy thing is, once you start doing that, you realize like, oh, other people want to do that too. Mm-hmm. Like, you have no idea. Like, and when we started, you know, I would show up to a cocktail party. I'd have, you know, my kids and my baby and my husband would walk in with like Vans and a beanie on. And all the husbands were like, bro, like, we're so jealous. They're like in this like, you know, tight suit, and they're just like uncomfortable, and everything's just like, ah. And I'm like there with my kids, and all the moms are like, oh my gosh. So I really do think that there's so many molds that you can break by just being yourself. And, you know, how many parents have started bringing their kids, and, you know, just giving people that permission. And I think that that's an area where I know God has really, truly used me and given me the ability to not think about other people's opinions, to where it's just like, well, this is what it is. I'm not going to make my husband wear a suit to impress who?
Yeah.
Like, for what? Like,
Yeah.
what is that going to do?
Yeah.
Like, my husband doesn't wear suits. Like, I mean, now he has his Louboutins and he's all bougie, you know, but he still has his beanie on. Like, he still has his hat on, you know?
Yeah.
But all the husbands, we still to this day talk about that. I mean, the CEO of my company is like, Jesse and Christa, like, they made everything just like easy, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, my husband's very much like me in his like,
Trendsetter.
he is just unimpressed. He's showing up as himself. Like, it is what it is. You don't like it. You don't have to. We don't care.
It's so refreshing, honestly. And
It's so easy.
Yeah.
That's the thing I wish people understood. It is so much easier to be yourself. Like, it's hard faking it.
it's so hard faking it. It's exhausting faking it. And when we started your brand together,
Yes.
that was like the first thing that I recognized with you. You're like, I don't want to fake anything.
No.
And I'm like, oh girl, we won't. Let's get to know your soul, your spirit, because your expression, like your brand identity is your expression of who you really are. And she comes to us and she's like, I need a lightning bolt. And I'm like, a lightning bolt? And she's like, I need a lightning bolt. Why did you choose the lightning bolt?
Okay, so backing it up, my husband, I met him on MySpace. So
Tom was my friend. Okay.
Okay, so my best friend's older brother was friends with him. So she goes, oh my gosh, you have to see this guy. Like, he is so hot. He's like this California guy. And she's like, my brother's friends with him. So she shows me his profile. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he is like the most gorgeous guy I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I'm going to marry him. And she was like, you know, I think it was even like a conversation, like, I just showed you, like, I like him, you know, like that sort of thing. And then, so anyways, I wrote him on MySpace. We started talking for a little bit. He was supposed to meet up with me at the river. And I was 15, okay?
Okay.
And we were supposed to meet up at the river. He ends up flaking. And I'm like, oh, this is what's crazy though. At 15 years old, my son is 15, okay? This is kind of trippy, kind of creepy. At 15 years old, I was like, I don't do flaky people. Sorry, I'm not talking to you anymore. We didn't talk for like 8 months.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So finally I like break up with my high school boyfriend and I'm like, this guy is writing me again. I was like, okay, I guess I'll talk to him. He is hot. And then I ended up telling him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to Laughlin with my parents. If you really want to meet me, like, you'll drive out here to Laughlin.
Heck yeah.
And he rolled up in a like brand new Scion XB, okay? Like the box, the box. And it was black and it had this white spray painted lightning bolt on the back of the car. And it just, since then, it has been like, the lightning bolt is just it. Like, I feel like it just describes like us together, and the lightning bolt is
100%.
It's Crawford.
Yeah. So that's her logo that we did. And how has it been fortifying your brand?
It's been like so like revelational for me. Like, I feel like there's just been so many things brought to the surface that we just subconsciously live life regardless of how aware we are, because I'm a person who thought I was like very aware of myself and very, but I mean, you have like completely transformed so many parts of my mindset that I didn't even think were like needed it, or like I was looking for that or anything. I genuinely, like, when I saw you, that's where like the discernment came in. I like knew I saw you for a reason. I knew this happened. You and Sarah had reached out about something else, and there was like a draw, and I was like, I gotta do this. Like, I don't even really know what I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, why do I need to do this? Why do I need to rebrand? What am I doing? And it's like, God is just, you know, I was in the hallway.
You were in the
And I walked through the door of Fordivine, and like, it just,
Yeah.
you know, and here we are. And it's like, I can't even tell you what my life will be like in 1 year, because I trust God has so much of a hand in everything right now that it's like, I know that I am reaching, you know, I always tell everyone, you are at the bottom of where you will be for the rest of your life today. Today is the bottom.
That's right.
So you have the choice to move and grow and go up. And like every day of my life, I know I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom of my income. I'm at the bottom of my reach. I'm at the bottom. I am at the bottom of where I will be for the rest of my life. And so I definitely feel like, you know, working with you has been God's way of like opening a door that like maybe I've been resisting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy and proud that
Thank
you said yes. And it's been amazing watching you, and I cannot wait to see what God is going to do
It's going to be good.
to you and through you.
Amen, sister.
So with that being said, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Such an honor.
And where can people find you?
At Christa Crawford _
Yeah.
on Instagram and ChristaCrawford.com.
Amazing. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here.